live broadcast from Manchester, New Hampshire. You can find all of our content on rebelloveshow.com and facebook.com/rebelloveshow. I am Rob Mathias.
And I am Joel Valenzuela.
We have a guest in studio today of compliments of her show, Sex, Lies, and Anarchy, the one, the only, Antigone Darling.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm honored to be here.
And also with you. Amen.
So should we talk about our partnership first, or no? Is that even on the table?
Sure. Did I mention it on my last show? I think I did. So, unfortunately, Sex, Lies, and Anarchy was the victim of a robbery, and so we lost a mixer and some other things, and I still had these awesome microphones left and everything, and things always work out in life, I've decided, because, you know, I'm still here. No matter how bad things may seem, we all survive. So, you guys were setting up. I had half a studio. It worked out.
Yeah, it looks it expanded our operation without dropping more Bitcoin.
Yeah, you really completed the room, so thank you for that.
So I'm like the rug that brought the room together. Thanks, guys. I'm
Absolutely. You are awesome. Our Big Lebowski.
Medium-sized Lebowski.
So, what do you want to talk about, Joel? You're Mr. Conversation.
Well, here,
I want to talk about the name of your show.
Oh, yes, please
go
do.
for it. I love the name of my show. In fact, I love it so much I put love in the name of the
show. What is that about? Like, what does that mean? I was talking to someone today saying that I was going to be on this show, and she said, it sounds like patriotic.
Does it?
And this person's smart enough to know that that's not a compliment.
Well,
how is it patriotic?
I don't know, but, like, tell me about
we're anarchists. Like, how is it I don't see it being patriotic at all.
Okay, I wrote the tagline. Someone just regurgitate the tagline all over the place here. It's spreading the love of a liberated world, right?
What does that have to do with love? Like, which of the loves?
Spreading the love?
To me, it's more of a sign out to all the Ron Paul people. It's the whole Lovolution.
The Lovolution thing.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a whole rebellion against the state because we're anti-state, so rebel love, spreading the Lovolution, not the revolution.
Okay, that's okay.
So you get it, and it's kind of like a lot of Ron Paul people may catch at least the logo from the love, because it's the Lovolution logo flipped.
Okay, the Ron Paul people, gotcha.
Yeah.
Bunch of status.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I came from the Ron Paul movement, so a lot of people here have.
I'd also like to add, at least from my perspective, that
fight.
I don't want this to be. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to just bitch about the state, everything that's wrong with the world.
Well, no, of course not.
I want to spread, the love of the liberated world. I want to talk about the good stuff that we're making happen, the good stuff that's going to happen.
More positivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Derek J with Peace News Now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
He wants to point out positive stuff.
I don't think I can be that bubbly.
Get a bow tie, you'd be surprised.
How many bow ties do you own?
None.
What? You're not a real libertarian.
I know. I don't have any bow ties.
There are so many categories now, like.
Well, I'm rocking the Liberty beard, so I mean that gives me some street cred, right?
No, you also need the bow tie. I mean, everyone and their mother these days has their criteria of what it takes to be a good libertarian, and apparently bow ties is one of them. I guess you didn't get that memo.
You know what else we need? A cat. Oh wait, we got one.
Yeah, we got the studio cat.
You got Anarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to know a little bit more about is, tell me about your show, but. No, I know what it's about. I want to know why you decided to dedicate your life work to talking about sex, lies, and anarchy, where liberty gets personal.
Yeah,
Why?
I've been trying to find a better tagline. I don't really even want the word liberty in there, because the word libertarian has been so tarnished. But
that's why we're about love.
The genesis, well, that one's been pretty tarnished too, overused verbally and underused in action. But
we're gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right from this apartment.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna rock the world from here.
Sex, Lies, and Anarchy started between three friends. We were just talking, and I forget who mentioned it, if it was a passerby or if it was me saying, like, maybe other people might want to hear these conversations, because especially, you know, in New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, okay, we're all libertarians. Some might be, you know, more Republican than I'd like, et cetera, et cetera. But we already have that whole, like, non-aggression principle and non-coercion thing down. So what Sex, Lies, and Anarchy tries to do is talk more about the gray areas. For instance, we had a show called Ostracism, the Bullshit Panacea. And ostracism seems to be the answer that a lot of libertarians use to problems, like, oh, well, just ostracize. And that's just really simplistic. So we try to get into all of that stuff. We might not have answers to anything, but we try to be a lighthearted show that does talk about important things, but not too academic. And unlike a lot of other libertarian shows, we don't cover news or current events. We, you know, ostracism is one example. Another example, we did a show about boredom and how boredom can be useful. We try to question things that get accepted as virtues. Is blah, blah, blah really a virtue? We covered some 4chan stuff this last episode, tits or GTFO, which...
Yeah, that's one thing I thought was very fascinating.
That got a lot of traction. I was actually really surprised by that, and a lot of people will say that, you know, what happens on 4chan is not important, but I think it is important because it's a community of anonymous people, and yet they have community standards. That was actually brought up by my guest host Lauren, who's in the room with us. But I thought that was really interesting, and that's something that we here in New Hampshire deal with as well. Like, we have a community at one point, which is anyone that moved here and anyone that, you know, met some of us at Occupy or wherever at our jobs or what have you, and get introduced to libertarianism that way, or Ron Paul people, you know, from here. It's not just Free Staters, but you have that community, which is thousands and thousands of people, way beyond the Dunbar number. Then you have regional communities, and then you have like the politicos, and then the anarchists, and a bunch of little communities that develop there too. I think it's a big mistake to think about the liberty community, because there is no such thing.
Well,
so you can look
broad.
it's I find the Dunbar number, I agree with the Dunbar number. It makes sense to me that, and for anyone who's not familiar, the Dunbar number is, and it's only been tested on primates, so you can extrapolate from that what you want, that I've heard anywhere from 150 to 250. So let's say at 200 people, you stop being able to recognize individuals, and it just becomes the blob, which I think is an important thing to think about when you think about the state. Because it's really easy to vote away the blob's money and the blob's freedoms, but it's not easy to vote away Joel's money and Joel's freedom. So
depends on what I did to earn your wrath.
Right. Well, it'd probably be pretty easy to vote away, you know, Chelsea Clinton's stuff or whatever.
Really? What do you have against Chelsea?
I have something against all the Clintons.
Yeah, that fair enough.
I have a special place in my small, small heart for Hillary Clinton. Very, very special place.
Yeah, so why is it, what do you hope to achieve for community through your show?
Through my show?
Yeah.
Well, I like to talk about different things, and like whatever I'm going through personally, I hope would be relatable with other people. Topics that I've covered a lot lately, in particular, have been school and the abuse that we all went through from being in school.
Well,
and
not me, because I didn't.
Right, you were homeschooled, but then there's also like the family unit is pretty obsolete and pretty abusive in the Western world, and then on top of all that, we have big pharma and the whole psychiatry thing. So I've done a lot of episodes on psychiatry. 62%, and then 62% of American women are on hormonal birth control, which messes with the way your brain works. 25% of American women are on antidepressants. I don't have the numbers for anti-anxiety or what's the other one? Antipsychotics. 15% of American men are on antidepressants. So people aren't really acting naturally. And then you have, libertarians saying, "Oh, other people aren't rational. They don't get it. They don't get it." And like, everyone is so medicated in today's society. It's actually really, really scary. I was talking to your neighbor, actually, and she said that she was just put on this new form of, it was some kind of upper or whatever, some kind of meth. And that was to deal with the side effects for all the other drugs that she's on, because she's on antidepressants. And so they just keep on adding to the drugs. And most people that are on a drug for psychiatric purposes are on 5 or 6. So much so that their urine gets into the system and gets into the rest of us. So if you want to talk about the zombie apocalypse, there you go. That's,
Yeah,
when the trucks stop coming to the pharmacies with all those drugs, we're going to have a serious problem.
If it's a life-threatening situation, I'll go on, drugs or whatnot. But if it's for anything else, I'm going to avoid as much as I can to take any kind of prescribed drugs or anything like that. I don't know. I don't trust, especially antidepressants, when you see so many people in this world that are on so many drugs, especially in this country. It's just insane. I would only take something if it's a life and death situation.
Only 11% of psychiatrists schedule talk therapy with their patients.
Wow.
It's just, here's this drug, take this drug, take this drug. This is super scary. Have you guys seen Requiem for a Dream?
I have not.
It came out when I was in college and I went to film school. So we all went to go see this by Aronofsky, who's a great director. He did The Wrestler as well.
I did like that one.
And yeah, that affected me the next day. I was like having flashbacks to it. But Requiem for a Dream, I remember my peers telling me the next day that they had to leave the theater, because they were in tears. And there's this woman who, she has issues and she gets prescribed drugs, and the way it's shot is brilliant. You don't actually see the doctor's face. You just see his clipboard, and she's there trying to talk to him, and he just, pulls a piece of paper off and gives it to her, and she's on all these drugs. If any listeners out there have seen that movie, that's pretty much what's going on.
Now, I think you touched on an interesting thing. We were talking about hormonal birth control, and I've read plenty of things about how a lot of modern attractiveness standards for males have come about because of female birth control, hormonal birth control.
That's why all the men are starting to look like women?
Exactly, or more androgynous-like. Or because, now this is what I've read, okay? I could be completely full of crap, and I'm sure you'd be the one to tell me about that in an instant, wouldn't you? So, I've heard that by being on hormonal birth control, that tricks the female body into always thinking she's pregnant, all right? And
she doesn't think she's pregnant, but her
body does.
Yeah.
And therefore, the attractiveness, they're looking for a softer, more nurturing type of male, and less the rugged, stubble-wearing or full beard-wearing, in the case of my lovely co-host here. Full beard-wearing, manly man. Yeah. And looking for a more androgynous thing. Now, it's interesting to point out, by the way, that when a woman gives birth, the father, assuming they're in proximity, also has a huge drop in his testosterone level as he prepares to be more of a nurturing role for the child. And so that's naturally, the attractiveness quotient is naturally built in to cover all of the bases there. But now we're talking about naturally being attractive to someone already who's at that level, without even being in proximity with his progeny. That's a kind of interesting thing. So, I guess I have a question for you. What do you think is a good alternative? Do you think it's worth the risk for the alternative risk of possibly all the unwanted pregnancies, for example?
Well, that's a very personal question as a woman who is fertile, or used to be. Well, of that age group. I don't have any medical maladies that make me sterile, is what I'm saying. Although I wanted to get the operation done at 18, and they wouldn't, because I had to either have a child or be 35. And at 35, you only have a few more years anyway. And if you already have a child, that kind of that negates the whole thing.
They wouldn't let you do that?
Yeah, I couldn't find a
I can
doctor.
see being younger, not as at 18, but no doctor would do that for you.
I couldn't find one, no. But for me, the whole pregnancy thing, people, when they talk about, and I'm going to be on something having to do with abortion during Pork Fest, so I don't know. I was tapped for that and was like, okay, fine. But people treat the whole pregnancy thing like, it's something that happens and it's like part of womanhood and what have you. And I cannot explain to these people that have that mentality that motherhood, or more specifically, pregnancy, is not part of my worldview. It is not part of my psyche. It is not something that I'm going to do. I am not a petri dish to grow things in. I am an individual, sovereign, and complete. I do not want a parasite living off of me. I think there's a lot of sexism and maybe even sexism is too simple. A lot of control when it comes to reproductive stuff. Like, the powers that be want to limit our pleasure. If we had all the pleasure we wanted, we might realize we don't need them. So they want to keep sex dangerous. And every once in a while, like, oh God, okay, the birth control pill came out, I guess we're gonna have to let that happen, women's rights or what have you. Women have been using pennyroyal, this herb pennyroyal tampons to abort babies since, like, for at least like 6,000 years. It was first mentioned in like some Egyptian stuff. Women have always controlled this, and it just recently became this big political issue. Like, what the hell? This is my business, and maybe the father's business, but it's like, it's not, definitely not yours.
You know why?
Well, when is it ever the state's business?
You know why?
Why is it society's business?
I think it became that because we had a society that was majority of a certain religious viewpoint, and from the Judeo-Christian perspective, children are a blessing, and they're supposed to be.
No. You know why children are a blessing? Because there weren't very many Christians at the beginning, and it's the same reason that Mormons have like polygamous marriages, so they can make more Mormons. It makes sense for those people to make more people.
Yes.
That's why children are blessings.
And so when you got to a place where this group was a majority, it's just the old habits die hard kind of thing. Old ideas die hard. Also, if you think about it, though, what naturally happens is what sex is naturally is for reproduction, and it naturally has a natural byproduct thereof. And so,
not my sex.
Well, we go to steps to prevent that. It's not just, okay, I will that I don't, and then therefore all the humping I'll do all day long.
I am on hormonal birth control. I'd rather not. There's actually this company, Gynafix, has a non-hormonal IUD that's only available in Europe. The FDA has not approved it for American use. America is quite puritanical. Yeah, and I mentioned this during my panel at Liberty Forum, Do We Need Feminism? And people said, oh, we have those here, we have those here. Yeah, we have copper IUDs, which lead to women bleeding like all the time. It sounds horrible. I've known people who've had so many issues with that. So they make birth control really like this huge hassle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that sort of makes me think of a lot of what we want out of versus sex, and also in other areas of life, but just in that area, for example. A lot of that for humanity involves conquering nature. For example, naturally our hair grows out. Naturally my hair grew out and I cut it.
Way too short.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize to all present who would be offended by my new...
You should have kept the beard.
Yeah,
you should have kept the beard for this show.
Hey, it's growing out again.
And you didn't even take a selfie of yourself with a beard.
Hey, I'll do that next time with my shower latte.
Oh God.
Seriously, like Joel was at a party and I showed up and I did not even acknowledge him because I did not recognize him. I literally did not.
People thought I was a new mover.
Yeah.
And I kind of am. I sort of feel like a new man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
But
let's talk about the hair. I mean, I can't stand it. You need to grow it back.
Is it more masculine? That actually, the men's hair is kind of funny. Now men have short hair, but that, from what I've read, started because of war. And the reason men started cutting their hair was because, out in the field or whatever, there was lice and this and that and the other thing. And short hair being a sign of masculinity is quite new.
Also, if you are in a fight. That's why the UFC fighters, etc. They all have short hair because you can grab onto it and it gets ripped out. It can be. It's easy. It's a tactical disadvantage. Now,
Sure, if you have to cut your hair short, but I mean, there are nerve endings at the like nape of your neck with that hair. Actually, when you grab that hair, it's arousing. So it's you like circumcised your own head.
Yeah, well, I don't like being aroused during a fight. That's the last thing I want to think. When I have a large, sweaty male on top of me is getting a pop in the.
Right. Well, yeah, you do fight, and so that's different. But
just really quick,
it's not feminine to have long hair, is what I'm saying.
Just really quick to finish the personal thing before we launch into the further history of this issue, etc., and why the man is keeping us down by keeping us
more dick
short,
jokes.
Man, is I wanted to have something a little bit. It was getting out of control. I wanted something more professional for a very brief window in my life. And
is that why you had the beard?
Wait, that's why you went to a barbershop called Latino and got the most stereotypical.
They did a good job making him look Latino, though.
Yeah.
They made
the beard.
No,
the beard made the do.
Not Latino. A certain. What were the women called? These women in San Jose. No. It's not. It's not Hispanic people. It's not. It's the like gangbanger look or whatever. Like these
cholos.
women, the cholos. Yes, not Latino, cholo.
Yeah, a minor and semi-criminal subset thereof.
Right, not of the people. Like it's a lifestyle, not a.
Exactly. This hairstyle has compelled me to carry a switchblade wherever I've gone.
Jesus. Like the girls in San Jose, they would have like black eyeliner or lip liner, whatever, it's the same crap, on the outside of their lips and not have any lipstick on the inside. And it's just like, your lips look like a butthole. I don't know what you're going for there. And then like the hair like slicked straight up and looking all crispy in the ponytail, and then big hoop earrings. Those were the cholas.
I've seen that before.
It was a thing. Hey, I had black nail polish and, Smashing Pumpkins wore all black and all of that.
Yeah, but that's completely different from.
No, it's not. It's some random subculture that you
scene.
pick when you're a teenager, so you have a sense of belonging. It's like straight out of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Well, even here you have that. You have people that dress a certain way in this community.
So you don't mean regionally, you mean like
it's
free staters?
Scenes or community in general. People dress.
We don't really have a dress code other than like sweatpants with holes in them, and I'm trying to fight against that.
You should.
Yeah, evening gowns and barefoot. That's my thing.
Yeah,
we're trying to class up the joint.
I've seen. Well, a lot of people try to attach themselves to whatever anarchist, black and yellow, red A's, circles, whatever symbols represent anarchy. For example, I knew a young lady.
Well, bow ties, right?
Yes, bow ties.
Sorry, you knew a young lady?
Yes, who found a black sweater at a thrift store with A's on it. It was like, oh, represents anarchy. I'm going to wear it. I shall wear it. And then, the rest, as they say, is history.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I mean, come on, look at us all around here. We got the flags going. I got this thing going. Then he's got the pin on his mic.
I got my beard going.
And
he's got the charcoal shirt on. You and I are wearing black.
Yeah, I'm not wearing black.
When I initially moved here, I used to always wear a black T-shirt. I can't believe we're talking about fashion, but, it's happening. So I used to always wear a black T-shirt and jeans because I figured the shit that comes out of my mouth is crazy enough. I don't want what I'm wearing to distract from what I'm talking about. And I don't want to have to think about what to wear either every morning. I got over that, found Goodwill and $5 dresses, and so now I'm just prancing through the fields.
Like for me, I'll wear like Liberty T-shirts and stuff like that, but a lot of times I'm out in public, I try to wear like a button shirt of some sort because I feel as if someone's going to talk to me about, if I want to, if I come across as a free stater or someone advocating liberty, if I get into this conversation with someone, I don't want to look like an activist bum, so to speak. I want to look kind of professional because image matters, and I don't want to dissuade someone just by the way I look. I want to look like I'm a normal person.
How many times has someone yelled at you, get a job?
Not yet.
Never happened to me either because I come from a conservative and professional background, and I have sort of not ever gotten into the full Jufro hair and the holes in the clothes and all that thing.
I hang out with occupiers.
Hey, I do
I'm
too.
not
I just
knocking
am not one.
I'm
I
not
don't look like
knocking
one,
their
that's all.
style. I mean, that's a
Well-
personal choice. I'm just saying, for me, I personally choose to try and look not normal, but more professional, I guess.
Yeah, and looking like a square doesn't necessarily lend the cause credence, but looking like you shower regularly and you take pride in your personal appearance makes it seem a little bit more like you're serious about your views and they're well researched and they're not crazy. It makes you look like not a crazy person.
Have either of you changed your fashion decisions since either moving here or becoming a libertarian?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely.
Slightly, yes. Well, it's hard for me to say because I was sort of always raised in the classical liberal monarchist mold, and then going all the way into questioning the very existence of the state has just been a very small step over. So it's not like there was a time when I was a raving statist and I dressed like a raving statist. There was a time.
Oh my God! How do raving statists? I mean, outside of Hillary Clinton shirts, how do raving statists dress?
Obama shirts?
Outside of
I don't
have
even
no
know.
idea what a raving statist looks like.
So, Rob,
from-
do you feel like an obligation to be selling libertarianism all the time? Like, are you a 24/7 salesman and think
No.
about that when you get dressed?
No, I don't think about that when I get dressed. I actually do enjoy looking presentable, just in general. For me, it's twofold. A, if I do ever get the chance to talk about, this community or whatnot, I want to look good talking about it. But on top of that, a couple years ago, I used to be a big guy. I was 300 some plus pounds or whatnot. This is a medium shirt. Like, to me, like, it's incredible that I can fit into a medium shirt. And I want to take advantage of looking as good as I can now, for a simple fact I never was able to do so. I mean, I was a double X and now I'm a medium. And to me, just personally, I love the fact that I can go buy a medium button shirt and throw it on and it fits perfectly. That's the biggest reason why I do it. But I also do it because I want to look good when I'm talking about, this community.
Well,
That's twofold reason, but that's my personal reason why I
Right,
try
and
to.
your personal reason was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
I know that I was scheduled to speak on behalf of the Free State Project in this conference in Maine. And it was in January, so it was really cold, but it's a conference. I'm speaking. And though I need a better word for it because I don't like the word militant, but I'm a militant atheist, as far as Christianity is concerned, for sure. But it was at a church. I'm speaking at a conference at a church. I'm going to dress up. I wore this little skirt and little strappy heels, a little sweater with a brooch. You know that I'm in disguise as a Republican when I wear a brooch. That's my rule. And so I go pick up the guy who's supposed to be coming with me, and he's manning the FSP table. He's literally wearing sweats.
Gross.
Manning.
He's a nice guy. But he showed up to a
the
conference in a church representing the FSP wearing sweats.
That sounds.
If you're going to a conference, you should dress up. Like this.
At least something. The third person that was with us was wearing like Dockers and a sweater. That was
especially
fine.
If you're
but
selling.
But sweatpants? Sweatpants. Like, if you see me wearing sweatpants, it's like, not only am I doing laundry, but I've had like a rough few days somehow, or I am sick, very sick. Like, what? I don't understand.
Well,
And this is from someone who used to wear black t-shirts and jeans all the time, but I remember realizing how much I had changed when I had to go record with Kelly and Candy in a basement. You can't see us. We just recently started doing some video stuff. But Kelly in particular did not want video. She didn't want live, blah, blah, blah. I miss her. And so I was just going to go in my pajamas or whatever. Like, I wasn't feeling well that day. And just like, oh, yeah, whatever. They know me, those girls, whatever. And I decided, no, I have too much respect for these ladies. I'm going to at least put on jeans and a sweater. And I'm not saying that if you don't do that, you don't respect the people you're going to meet or anything like that. I just realized that my personal thing, I wanted to at least, put on real clothes to go meet with these two ladies.
Yeah, and that's my personal drive in life. I feel that I'm always representing something. Whatever I am, whatever I'm out doing, someone's always watching, and someone's always going to make snap judgments about something associated with me based on anything. And if I go around with sweatpants out in public, someone's going to say something, look at those libertarians, look at those free staters, look at those trashy young men, look at those Mexicans, look at those, anything I represent and am associated with. So I always operate under the assumption people are watching me, and I better be comfortable with being watched at all times. So that's how I act.
Because there's stupid, lazy people in the world. Like before we started recording, we were talking about like makeup or whatever, and Lauren was saying like or someone was saying like you're like obsessed with your looks, and I don't really think about makeup and I don't really wear it. But if you look at the Adam versus the Man YouTube thing I did, everyone is complaining, and I was not wearing any makeup. That was like a year ago, and I've learned, I guess, if you don't wear makeup, then everyone says you're a lesbian, you're frigid, you're this, you're that, I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole, and blah, 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 which, A-okay with you not touching me. That's awesome.
Darn tootin'.
And then if you do look nice, and you put on makeup like, oh, she's trying too hard, and blah, 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 no matter what you do, lazy people are going to talk about how you look. So, I mean, I've decided
let me put
do
this
some
way
makeup and whatever.
Whatever you do, whoever you are, people are going to not only judge you but hate on you. I would like to structure my life in a way that limits the options of directions their hating can go.
Which is why, okay.
Well, first off, I don't.
Let's stop talking about
you. Shouldn't care if you have any haters on YouTube. I mean, that's going to happen.
Oh, no, the YouTube.
Right. Yeah, it's YouTube.
No, I've said before, YouTube is like more racist than actual racist sites, because everyone's anonymous and whatever. No, I didn't care, and I did not respond in any way. And then a bunch of other people started responding saying, like, she's actually kind of hot. You're, like, envious and retarded, and you're probably one of the basement-dwelling keyboard warriors that she's talking about. So I'm just sitting there in my room just watching the comments and like, oh, yeah, this is handled. This is fine.
Welcome to internet fame.
Sure.
Well, my point being is, with the way I dress and whatnot, I'm not doing it because I'm afraid someone's going to judge me. Really, I just want to look. I guess I just want to look good, and I know that I represent different things. But I don't really care if someone else doesn't want to do that. I understand. But if you are going to look, if you're going to be doing activism, I think you should look better. But that's because you're selling something. You're not just doing something. You're selling something.
It depends. I mean, there is no right way to do activism.
Well, true.
There is no, I mean.
Well, this is.
And I don't want to be like, oh, you're not dressed appropriately, and hence you shouldn't be doing this. Like, I mean, everything.
Well, no, everyone.
I
agree with that.
I think the Free State Project is growing up, and I mean, we've been around for a while. Thousands and thousands of people. Like, we're averaging maybe 3 or 4 movers a week now.
It's been a lot. I've met like over 20 since I moved. That was in January.
Yeah.
It's been way more than that.
Well, I know. I'm just saying in general. I mean, it's the whole state. I'm just saying.
And a lot of people, a lot of people move, and they just buy a house, and they have their kids, and they vote liberty leaning or whatever, and you don't actually hear about them. I mean, Lauren has been here for 4 years.
Oh,
I met her at Convention. 10 years.
10 years.
Oh, that's like way pre Free State Project. But yes, the Free State Project growing up. So initially you had a lot of people that did not have any roots at home. People with families, and I don't want to tear my kids away from their friends, and I've got a mortgage, and blah blah blah. Those people weren't coming. It was the kids, and they all moved to Keene, and it was like a big frat party and whatever. And I know that I realized I was an anarchist at a Campaign for Liberty event. Granted, I spent 11 years in the wasteland of Anarchy, but an ex of mine, my first boyfriend. We're still very close, asked me a question at a Campaign for Liberty event, and my response was, I'm an anarchist. Okay. And so as soon as I got back...
Such a bummer.
I know. Well, I stopped eating. Because because all I was doing was reading, and I got in touch with the MHD guys, the Motorhome Diaries guys, Tally and Peter, and
How long have you been an anarchist?
Were
you an anarchist before or after you got here?
Oh, before.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to this. Like, I had just broken up with my boyfriend, kicked out his sorry ass, and I called my best friend Andre, who was down in LA. I was in San Francisco, so like 5 hours away, and kind of like a good meeting point is Las Vegas, and there was a Campaign for Liberty and Freedom Fest going on, and I told him, I need this. Like, my life was not going well. I lived in a cubicle and was working 50, 60 hours a week for someone else, and then, my partner was gone, and I was just kind of out, not having a good sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Which is not where...
I completely relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
So I called up my best friend, who I've known since I was 3 years old, and I said, we're going to Vegas, and we're going to this conference. And he said, I can't take the time off work, and I told him, I have never once pulled the best friend card, and I'm pulling it now, and you are coming to Vegas. Okay.
That's a good best friend right there.
So we went, we had a blast, and my ex was there, and the three of us had hung out and smoked a whole lot of weed in high school and college growing up, and so he's the one that asked me that question, and I've talked to him since, like, what did you ask me? And I don't remember what it was that he asked me, and he doesn't remember, so that sucks. So as soon as I got home, got in touch with Motorhome Diaries, started running Liberty on the Rocks at home, and then revisited the Free State Project website, and they had lost my initial email. I actually signed up. I was aware of it before the vote happened, and signed up while I was married. Got divorced. So he didn't want to deal with the snow. I don't want to deal with the snow either, but that's a different story. So, and I scheduled. I didn't go to the web page to see how it was going. Mm-hmm. I went there to change my status to I am moving. So me realizing that I was an anarchist was not like, oh, I guess I won't vote for Ron Paul. It was more like, oh my God, does everyone else see this? Does everyone else see this abuse and this sickness that all of society is suffering from? Oh my God, we have to do something. And that's where the not eating part came in. It wasn't I want to be skinny. It was just that's not important right now. There's other shit.
I understand.
Do you understand prisons? Do you understand,
We're in one.
The military-industrial complex and big pharma and da-da-da-da? It was just this complete and total shift.
And speaking of do not see this, one thing we do not see is our lovely co-host, Rob. So if you can keep on that thought while I readjust the camera that you so callously misdirected, that would be great.
I callously misdirected?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you need to adapt. This is a live show.
It's a live show. Just do... There you
Adapt.
go.
All right.
Hit 3.
If I'm the only one that
See, you can't even edit that out
there
now.
You go. All right. Now we're gonna rock it with just...
Wait, so now we're on that one?
Yeah, well, you're still using this one. So that's still on you.
I'm still just talking to you guys.
That's fine.
All right, so what have we talked about?
Well, one thing I want to go...
Your transformation into...
Yeah, I got a little loud right there.
Yeah, you did. You got a little passionate about
Well,
that.
and that's why, I was in a cubicle, getting paid quite well and all of that, a pretty average life. I mean, I worked at Intel. That was kind of awesome. They flew me around a lot. So, but then the TSA kind of ruins that too. But
TSA ruins a lot
and
of
so
things.
Here I am, surrounded in libertarians, which is awesome. And sometimes I really need to remind myself of that because, yeah, I hate snow. I hate snow. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to travel every winter.
I
I'm
have spent my entire life living in a winter climate.
Right. Well, Chicago. I
worse.
just visited Chicago.
Horrible.
I hate Chicago.
Yeah, and I was there for
I met some cool people, but
it's horrible.
The tolls and the lights. There's so many lights.
It's a concrete jungle. If you lights everywhere.
It's important to be in the dark, as a ritual. Daily maybe. There's so many lights in that city, and the tolls the price of the tolls
Oh,
as
I
you
know.
go down these brightly lit
It-
highways really,
It's not even
reflect
that. It's like literally every street light, every red light has a red light camera. Almost, it was getting to the point where almost every street corner had spy cameras.
Yeah,
Like,
you've got
I've
Rahm
had-
Emanuel
I've
over
had-
there. Like, seriously,
This
if they're listeners in Chicago, GTFO.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
and that's not.
hated
It's
it.
not just Chicago. It's all the burbs as well. Like it's like all the suburbs have the exact same thing going on. Like I remember I actually had a situation where police came out to me outside a bar.
Careful, you look Hispanic,
I know.
as we've
That
covered.
I actually am. So
But you don't look
I never
Hispanic.
said I was or wasn't.
Check your privilege. It
Well,
doesn't matter what you actually are. Your
I'm a
actual
human
experiences don't matter. It only matters what you look like.
exactly
Listen
why
up, kids.
exactly why I insist on dressing and carrying myself in a semi-professional manner at all times, because no one cares about my message. Everyone cares about what about my personal appearance they can pick apart. Carry on.
Well,
Laziness.
at any rate, I was on a date, went to the car, and there's spy cameras like all along the street. The suburb, it was a suburb, it wasn't even Chicago. Squad cars came up because we were in the car too long, and
Mhm.
they was like, "Go home."
Mm.
Like we're watching.
I've had a
you.
cop
They
tell
told
me
us
to go
we're wa-
home
they're
before.
told they were watching us on camera.
Mm-hmm.
This is like years ago.
What, were you making out?
Yeah.
What-
But nonetheless, it's like it's
It's not illegal. And
I
I've
know.
had a cop tell me to go
And when
home
we're
before too.
driving-
Like, you can't tell me to go home.
yeah.
You can kick me, this is iffy, but iffy, you can kick me off of public property. But you can't tell me to go home. What the hell is wrong with you?
And this is like they're watching. That means someone in the city hall of that suburb was literally watching, or the police station was literally watching cameras live at that time, and it freaked
Gotta
me
love
out.
them unions, right?
Yeah,
He sees you when you're
But,
kissing. He knows when. I don't know. I'm done.
good. But yeah, I mean,
If
could
he'd
not
been doing
stand it.
something more interesting, maybe he would have continued to watch instead of having his buddies go bother you.
maybe, but
Maybe he's gay, and that's why he didn't like it.
the cop,
Oh, you're assuming he was making out with a girl? I wasn't making that assumption.
I was.
I was too.
I don't know you guys that well.
At any rate, Chicago sucks. Illinois sucks. I don't know how people can still live there. I felt like I was.
Their truck
This is
stops
like-
have free Wi-Fi.
The what?
Their truck stops
The only-
have
the
free
only thing-
Wi-Fi,
the
and
only
we all
thing-
know it's not free. Blah blah blah.
I want to throw this out. The only thing I miss is the pizza. My God, pizza here sucks.
Chicago pizza.
It does.
Well, honestly, the best pizza I've had in my life was not in Chicago. No offense to you, but it was in Chicago style pizzeria in D.C. So go figure.
Chicago style pizza is lasagna.
Okay.
Just saying.
Anyway, one thing I wanted to get back to that
Yes.
I like mentioning about where we all were in our personal journey when we decided to come out here. A few people have called this the Divorce Day Project because of
Oh God, you're gonna bring that up?
because of the amount of people who have sort of personal apocalypses and then their post survival. This is where they come, and it might have to do with. I know that was my.
That could be a whole show. You're bringing it up at the end.
Yeah.
Hey,
We'll do that next time.
yes.
'Cause I know.
We can do that next
save
time. We
it for
definitely
next
will because that. Yeah. As far as I know,
The
everyone.
question is, why haven't you been married yet?
Because he's smarter than we are.
Apparently.
Baby, what you and I got is so good. We should totally invite the government in.
Doug Stanhope line stolen.
Is it a duck? I don't know.
Is that?
Yes, that is Doug Stanhope. I know exactly that line from that special.
Okay, and you just said stolen. So you believe in IP? Statist.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact,
Statist.
In fact, I ran out of good jokes to tell about that, but I'm using the word stolen loosely.
But anyway, the Free Divorce Project makes sense. The top reasons that people split up are usually cheating and financial. Not usually principles. But I've heard way too many times, like, I'm ready to make the move, but I got to convince my spouse. And people have asked me, people have asked, like, Free Staters, people have gone to PorcFest and asked, like, as part of a Q&A about the spouse issue. If you drag your spouse along,
It's not going to work.
he or she will not be happy, might hang out for a while, but they will not be happy. People have split up, and one of them has left. And that's always kind of like when I've had friends split up, and I'm like, you're both staying in the state, right?
One thing
And that happens too, and that's great when they both stay in the state, because that means they did move for the right reasons, because you should not, no one should move to a different state for a person. I don't understand how this can be seen as virtuous in any way. You do not do that. I don't understand why anyone would do that. So yeah, those people do end up leaving. And even if the spouse is not dragged here, any kind of major life change can put a relationship through tumultuous times.
Yeah.
So, you know, make sure you're on the same page and communicate openly and all of that kind of stuff. It is a life change. You know, maybe not from Mass to New Hampshire, but from California to New Hampshire, it's a life change. Just the weather alone, you know, has deeply affected my lifestyle. I woke up this morning and I was great, and I had a great first hour. And then I opened the door to walk somewhere, and I saw snow. And
this morning was
love snow. Okay.
Just stop with that.
You're from Phoenix,
please.
Just
you.
It's still a novelty to you.
Yeah, winters suck. Don't come here for the cold, because the cold sucks. Come here because you want to be free.
Put this way,
And
it's not
I spent
that bad here. Like, I've been
this.
around. I've been.
Oh my God! He's like a 12-year-old.
I know. I don't get it.
It's your
Look,
first winter. Stop it. It's a
winter
novelty
sucks.
to you.
It's not.
Get back to me
Listen,
5 years from now.
It's not my first winter period. I've been to Scotland in December. That's probably pretty cold. I went
Oh,
to
Scotland in
school.
December. How long were you in Scotland?
I
How
went to
long?
school.
How long were you in
I
Scotland?
went to university in Cedar City, Utah, where it snowed just as much as it does here. I've been through some winters, and I don't mind it. It's a personal preference issue. There's people in this era of free movement tend to go where they feel most comfortable, and people who can't stand the snow here move to the west, where I'm from. And people who can't stand the heat, like me, I was miserable in Phoenix. Some people love it.
Yeah, you don't want to be in Phoenix June through August. I'm going to be here during that time, and in Phoenix during November through May.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would probably too, except that I just sort of live here and I don't have the financial means to jump between the two places. I mean, some of us aren't jet setting.
I would like to orchestrate something that would make it really cheap for people to do that, and I think that's an important step for the Free State Project to take, is to have another place, and people have been discussing Costa Rica and Belize or whatever, not necessarily for Free Staters to go spend the whole winter, but at least like a week or two, you know, like in the end of
like a Free Stater
February.
timeshare?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm totally serious, because it's all psychological. You got, you know, SAD, seasonal affectation. No, not affectation, but you know what I'm talking about, the seasonal disorder.
Like for
disorder.
me, like this winter, it was just too long. Like it was too much snow.
I was pissed off today. Today is April 16th. Hold on. I came over here 4 years ago for Liberty Forum. Went down to Florida because my partner at the time had a job and he lost it, and we came back. We bought an RV, and we're in Grafton. And I wake up one morning, and I open the blinds, and on my car, outside of my RV, is snow. It was April 28th. Basically May, right? Like almost May.
Yeah.
And there was fresh snow, and I was so upset. And that's probably why I was so traumatized this morning, where like I said, you know, I need to go take a nap and reset my attitude. No one bitched about my attitude. It was just I knew, like, I feel like I just need to go take a nap.
I hear what you're saying. Like this, like earlier this week, it was almost like a striptease. 70-degree weather. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I went running on like Saturday morning. It was great. My first run in New Hampshire.
I saw your post about that.
Yeah, until I lost my keys, and it was the most horrible morning. you know. But that run was great. I ran down through Elm on downtown Manchester. It was great. It was my first run. I felt great, and I was like, I want to keep running. I got up this morning. I woke up. I set my alarm for 6 a.m. I woke up because I had work this morning. I had to go to my secret identity.
Yes.
You know, and I wake up and I look outside and I see the ice everywhere. I'm like, forget this. I'm going back to sleep for another hour. I'm not about to run in like 20. I looked at my phone with I have the weather on there. It's like 20 degrees. I'm like, no, I'm done.
I mean,
I'll run when it's warmer.
When I was in Phoenix for a month, you know, I would post things. Like I posted my TSA experience, which was really horrible. And
is there ever a good TSA experience?
Yeah, when they don't touch you.
That's not
a good experience. It's just not a whole.
Right, that's a new.
I actually got
through.
I got through the TSA when I flew here. Because when I came here, I sold everything I had except for the clothes on my back and Ash, the studio cat. And because I was holding a cat,
you could have done it without her. But anyway,
I can't do it without her.
No,
I don't like cats.
Well,
I'm not sneezing right now, so yay, Ash.
All right, I didn't know you're allergic.
Mildly.
Okay.
Or at least I used to be, and now so many of my stupid anarchist friends have anarchities.
Yeah, see, it's another thing. It's
anarchities.
Another thing in the community. You got to have a cat. That's just
as long as you call it, you need to call her Anarchy. But
you can call her that. You can call her that on your show.
She's Ash the studio cat, and she handles all the web posting. She makes sure all the mics are checked and working well.
He really loves this cat.
Oh, is that why this is so furry? Okay.
Yeah. And anyways, I got through the TSA checkpoint at Midway. They didn't have to go through the body scanner. They didn't pat me down because I was holding a cat.
Oh, right. Actually, so I posted my
weird.
horrible experience, and someone said, "Bring a pet."
Yeah.
And this is kind of silly. So I'm gonna go buy a guinea pig at the store. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go buy a guinea pig so that I don't get raped. That's actually fair, I guess. But yeah, someone did say that. But my point was that, you know, I wrote this horrible thing that happened to me, and then I just felt like I had just put up too much negative energy into I'm not mystical. I don't believe in this stuff. I really don't. But I felt like, okay, there's just too much negativity. So then I posted, it's 85 degrees, I'm sunbathing and sipping on tequila. Just want to put some positivity out there. Or whatever I posted. Because I didn't want to say to like all my New Hampshire friends, like, look at me, it's 85 degrees, because that's like really obnoxious. Like, look at you guys have a snowstorm, you're stupid. You know, I didn't want to do that, but I did not want to be that guy. But I did want to post, you know, just something positive into the world. Yeah. So that's why I posted about that. And then people were saying, people from here, I'm sure out of love, because, you know, they missed me and stuff. Like, my best friend was on there, you know, saying shit. Yeah, missed you too, buddy. But people were there calling me a whiner, you know, just weak and soft and, you know, whatever. And I don't think that's really fair. And my response was, you know, I went to Catholic school. I am very familiar with people who value suffering and sacrifice. I do not value suffering and sacrifice as its own ends. Now, sacrificing, you know, pleasure now to get pleasure later, you know, all of that, rational thought. I get that. But
delayed gratification and all that.
Right. But living through a New England winter, just to say I lived through a New England winter, is not, like, that's not valuable to me. I don't find that to be a virtuous thing. Like, I'm so hardcore because I live in snow.
For me, this has been, like, I'm not that against a winter, but this has been by far the worst winter I've ever experienced in my life. Like, the amount of snow and blizzard here, like, literally for like a month straight, every week was like a blizzard. When I left Chicago, it was like this, you know, like this Arctic huge, you know, negative 40-degree wind chills for like weeks on
right.
end.
No, the Midwest got it way worse than New England
I left,
this year.
When I got here, I left negative 40-degree wind chill in Chicago, and I came here to 20 degrees. I was like, this is a heat wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just been the worst winter I've ever experienced in my life. But I'm still here.
My view on weather is unless it's really extreme, you just put on more, take off less, you know, clothes. and you're fine.
No.
As long as you have a infrastructure to deal with that. For example, the only thing I minded about the Phoenix heat is that I love walking outside, and you just can't do that. You can't take off more clothes to a certain degree and just be comfortable.
No, I get
Whereas in this state, even in a cold winter, even in the middle of a snowstorm, I just put on a big trench coat and a hat, and I'm like, there we go. I can still do my thing.
I get the heat wave thing. I mean, Northern California is pretty temperate, but we did have heat waves where like old people died. It just wasn't 3 months long like it is in Phoenix.
Speaking of which, you know that Arizona has one of the lowest incident rates of death by heat in the world because people are used to being flipping hot so much that they know how to not die.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. And I agree with you that you can't take off your skin when it's that hot. I don't want to be in Phoenix during June through August either. I mean, my biggest thing is the fact that during snowstorms, I can't move. Like, I can't get in my car and drive around. You drove me one time this winter, and we were at a stoplight. The car moved. The car in front of us made the left-hand turn, and it took you the entire cycle of that light to move up one car space.
That was a fun.
That was ridiculous.
I'm
Anyway.
surprised he has actually survived driving in the winter.
Especially
Barely. He
Or
did
his
screw
car.
up his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mechanic told me all about that.
Oh, so you did get your car fixed with him and all that.
Yes. I paid in FRNs, not Bitcoin,
How
but
do you like Chuck?
seems like a legit guy. I'll probably use him again.
You know, he reminds me of
He might
Bubbles
come to
from-
the Bitcoin meetup on Sunday, actually.
He reminds me of Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys because of his glasses.
Which meetup?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
You saw that, didn't you? Now it clicked. You cannot unsee that.
Yeah, I see that. He must be pretty blind. Yeah. No, I did not think about Bubbles, but yeah. Where?
No, I was gonna say which meetup because there was two. There's an alternative meetup.
Right. Whichever one I tell him to go to, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Everyone's going to Tap Room because they take Bitcoin. Tap Room.
I don't like Taproom.
I don't like it either.
I understand that they're taking it. We go there because it's they accept Bitcoin, but I like the atmosphere of Strange Brew so much more.
As usual, the market decides.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And the market has decided that there's 2 Bitcoin meetups in Manchester. I mean, that's pretty badass, right?
That is
I
pretty.
call it
Where
the
else is
the
that to
revolution.
happen?
It's like the
The
resistance.
The resistance has begun to Taproom. But anyways, we're gonna cut it short because we're at an hour now. What's going on the rest of the week? There's a 420 rally Sunday, and then FIJA handouts Monday morning. We'll try and cover that. I'm going to videotape both of those, then talk about it on Wednesday. You can find all of our content on rebelloveshow.com or facebook.com/rebelloveshow. That's where both me and Joelle post all of our shenanigans and blog posts, YouTube videos, all that jazz. You got anything else to add?
I just want to do a big shout out and thank you to Antigone for joining us. You've been lovely. We like having you. You're good for great, intelligent conversation. Very interesting things to say. I mean, hey, this is not like the boring little. Well, in my opinion, anarchy can solve all it. We made this interesting, and no small part at all thanks to you. So thank you very much for lending your special, unique talents to the show.
And I also think that this partnership with the studio is going to last, or not last, but at least be great right now.
Never last.
It may not last. We got to the end of the year, but I think it's really beneficial for both of us.
We got a hot thing going right now.
We both have great, now both of us have full studios to work with.
For the mutual benefit of Kazakhstan.
Yes.
Or make benefit glorious nation.
And if anyone's interested in checking out Sex, Lies, and Anarchy, we're at sexliesanarchy.com, and we're on Facebook and iTunes and Twitter and all that jazz.
Check it out. They're more intelligent than us.
Or at least they got their shit together.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
We try.
All right. Thank you very much for watching. Rebel Love Show out.
Peace.
Peace.